Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Caster Desk for the penultimate game of the weekend over in North America. I'm joined alongside Janus, and we're going to be commentating on Enemy versus Cloud9.
Enemy on the clear up and up, taking out Denial last week, or actually just the other day, and what many thought would be Denial sided, and it was maybe a 1-1 split, but Enemy coming out on top, and they're going to be facing Cloud9, who have yet to face a doubleheader. They've only had
Four
two
games
going in. Yeah, they lost to
Four games total.
Yeah, they lost to AFK in the first week. Understandable, bringing in Baskin instead of their tried and true Omega, being on the team for a year and a half plus. Baskin had some growing pains, but he looked very strong last week against Denial as well.
He did look strong last week, and we'll see what he can do this week for the boys of Cloud9. Cloud9, as we said, though, they're the one with the least amount of games played so far in North America, just like Fnatic over in EU. And we're going to go straight into picks and bans of this one. Cloud9 will be first pick, Enemy second. Enemy with a record of 6-2 right now after facing off against COG, Elevate, and Denial. They picked up 2 O's against those, and just the 2 losses against AFK.
So a big pick here. A big priority pick for both of these teams is going to be Bologna. Both have grabbed it 3 times. Cloud9 and Enemy both, if it's up, they are first picking Bologna. They like that to go to their solo lane. It's a very comfort pick, and it also has a very high impact in the mid-game team fights. Also, though, Serqet is up on the board. I almost feel like Enemy is forced into banning Aokwang and Serqet. Like, I don't think there's any option for them to leave Serqet open.
And we'll see exactly what's going to happen, because Aokwang obviously always going to be banned out for the majority of games. It's very rare that we see him slip through the banning phase these days. And now Freya taken away as well. Little shot at that duo lane.
Yeah, Vedium has been performing at a very high level. And this player on Enemy, he was also on the Summer Split Enemy roster, although 4 new members being brought on board. And he was probably one of the lower tiered hunters, I'd say, during the Summer Split, but big improvements in the offseason and coming into the Fall Split. He's looking super strong, maybe inching up there to be one of the better hunters in North America.
Bologna was taken out by Enemy. It does leave Janus available and Sylvanas, 2 contested picks that we do see quite often picked up very, very early in games.
Serqet open as well, and I'm assuming if Cloud9 doesn't draft that, that's going to be Enemy's response.
Then, right?
Yeah, my option here for Enemy is, Serqet going to Cloud9. They know they can't give that up to Enemy, and that it's a very good pick on Annenster.
Now, will we see Janus Sylvanas in response? I expect to see the Janus, maybe something else.
The Janus Sylvanas?
Janus Sylvanas.
Dr. Vanus Sylvanas Janus?
That's too far.
He's not allowed to use this.
Geb is the priority choice for Pain to be on there.
I like this pick. Typically, he looks for the Athena pick. It's one of their higher picked gods in the support role if it's not banned out against them. But it works. It's very strong against Serqet, and I think that's the main point here is even if Cloud9 got Serqet, Enemy's response was immediately going to be that Geb. A lot of protection to peel Serqet off of her target.
Well, let's see where they're going to go with the second one. There's only a few seconds left to decide, and it's going to be Osiris very, very early.
So that's going to be going to Baskin. More than likely in the solo lane, but that is a very early Osiris. That's going to give Cloud9 the option to counterpick that solo lane. Typically, you don't see that.
Baskin's on the other team.
Walrus.
That's right.
That's what I said. I said Walrus,
you
right?
Said Baskin.
No, I said Walrus.
That's why I was like, that's the wrong team there. But it's fine. Osiris, basically Walrus, you'll see him pick pretty much two different gods time and time again.
Wukong and Osiris are the 2.
It's not even Walrus. You got it confused again.
It's Salt Machine.
Thank you.
I played with him in Arena last night.
Wow, the BM, just rude. With that, though, like I said, the Janus is going to get through, and it's going to go over to the side of Cloud9 too. Mobility is the order of the day for those right now, and they're already looking prime for this.
Yep. One final pick coming in for Cloud9 in this first phase. Are they going to look for Jeff Hindler to be grabbing his support? Athena is still available, Sylvanas as well, and I'm assuming Enemy's going to be banning out either one if they're left open, but no, it's going to be Athena drafted.
Mobility, like I said, the order of the day now. Janus, global rotations. Athena, global rotations. Serqet, no slouch in the jungle at all with that Deathbane and that ambush to move around the map very quickly. Add a blink to that combo as well, and things get even worse.
Yes.
Good setup for Cloud9 so far. On the other side, Enemy, a little bit unusual in the fact that they drafted a solo so early.
Yeah, we don't normally see that, but Osiris does a good job of controlling most, if not all, lane matchups outside of having to go against a Hades, which is still up, and they actually may be looking to ban that out to make sure. No, it's going to be Medusa taken out. So Hades still open for Cloud9 if they elect to go that route.
Well, at the moment, we'll see what's going to happen with Cloud9's last ban. Available for them is a Hunter ban. I mean, they banned Medusa there as well, which is interesting, especially when they've not picked a Hunter themselves.
Yeah, very clearly Barracuda targeted. Next up, it's going to be Thor banned out by Cloud9, not wanting that to go over to the jungle for enemy. So a lot of target bans coming out.
This is going to be a priority pick now for the Hunter more than anything else, I suspect. With the ban on Medusa, they expect to get a priority pick in the Hunter role. They'll be able to handle the situation for them. Going to be up against Athena so far. They're going to leave the Hunter to last pick. Maybe it's not even a Hunter.
Who knows?
Is that Osiris Hunter?
Vedium could play it. Vedium, I mean, there's always, right? Ao Kuang's been played. I'm not gonna say that yet. But it also could be something to try and throw off the opponent. Xbalanque going to be locked in for Cloud9. Are they going to go that Hades solo, which in theory is going to dominate Osiris in the solo lane?
No, they didn't need to pick Batz there, right? Because the jungle was already picked in Serqet. So they're saving this Hunter pick for last pick because they're doing something special. Which means it's either not a Hunter, and it's something crazy.
It's not going to be anything crazy.
It's going to be something crazy.
It's going to be a Hunter. He's going to lock in like Uller right here.
But why would they leave the Hunter to last pick? Then that's just confusing to me why they would go for
They just want a direct matchup. They probably want Vedium to make sure he can get ahead against Barracuda.
Barracuda pick matchup, I guess,
he wants at least the direct counter pick in lane matchup. And there it's going to be Ram facing off against Xbalanque. So nothing crazy. You did get me. I was like, maybe they will. No, but they want to make sure that Vedium get ahead. Barracuda is one of the best hunters in North America and has been for quite some time. And Vedium is typically a big part of their late game team fights.
Rama as well, because he can roll in as well. He can get the cripple off, stop the Rising Jaguar away. He's got good chance of good aggression there. Does Visham up against Barracuda. Jungle-wise, though, they're going to see that, solo-wise, you're going to see that Cabrakan for Baskin in this game.
This is a matchup I haven't seen or I'm not exactly familiar with, so Cabrakan versus Osiris should be an interesting look.
I'm pretty sure Cabrakan should do well. Take into account Osiris, he's built to deal with physical gods for the most part. His passive is all about physical damage reduction, along with all of his other abilities too, very focused on that. Whereas, to be fair, Cabrakan, well, he doesn't really care if you're going to slow him because he wants to try and stand and bang with you anyway, right? And he's going to be in the minion wave too, so it should be a lane that Cabrakan should be in control of. We'll find out though.
Early aggression, Salt Machine going to be placing a ward, and it is Salt Machine. It took me 3 names to get through and finally figure it out. Wiggles DeBay is back in the main lineup for enemy. He unfortunately could not make their last week's or the other day's game, and it was a Just who subbed in, playing also Hunbat. So. And I mean, they really like this Hunbat's pick.
We were talking about that game of enemy as well. Wiggles has done very, very well for this team.
He's been phenomenal
so far. Really strong. And just to step in and fill in his shoes that week, did a great job for it. Didn't miss a beat. Back to Wiggles again, though. Back to the Hunbats. So start the game. Let's check in with the items to see anything crazy coming out. Nothing really transcendent for the Xbalanque, as you get to see a little bit more often nowadays, especially with the blue buff changes, because we used to see a lot of Devour's Gauntlets there. Across the way, though, we're going to see Visham picking up the Devour's Gauntlets. Rank 1 can go into Soul Eater as well.
Probably not.
We'll find out where he's going to head with it.
Normally, if you see it first up, it's not going to be Soul Eater. It's typically Devo's start. Taking a look, though, Cabrakan starting build, going with the Mark of the Vanguard, which is a smart choice against Osiris, and also as a Cabrakan in lane, because a lot of it is you use your trimmers to clear, which typically the opponent is going to walk into, and that forces all the minions to attack you. That's going to be reducing a lot of that damage with the 5 flat damage reduction.
It also gives you 150 health as well, unlike some of the other start items like Death's Toll, which gives you 90. So that will be more useful for him just to sustain a little bit more in lane. A couple of potions, you can see he's focused there, Baskin on 4 health and 2 multi just to sustain even longer. Because I expect the early game is where he'll struggle in terms of doing clear and poke pressure.
Jeff Pinla, Barracuda. So far, losing the direct lane matchup, Pain Devian and Vedium, their clear is just a tad bit stronger here. Xbalanque normally struggles to clear early on. Ram, however, can stand at the front of the wave, use those astral arrows to clear them out, and also can stand behind his own minions, which is going to allow him to avoid the poison dart poke that Barracuda is looking to put out.
Cloud9 there, they didn't actually start the red buff, as you could see, and they left it up a little bit later. We're not seeing too much of that as the seasons progress, because people realized that the raid potential was on most of the time from the enemy team, but enemy didn't feel like going for it, and at the moment things are looking okay for both sides. Right inside though, Salt Machine and Baskin doing what they do best, and smashing each other in the face.
Yeah, this is a very close matchup, but the thing here is that Salt Machine has Death's Toll, which means he's going to be able to heal up a lot of that. Additionally, a big thing on why we see Death's Toll picked up on Osiris almost every single time, whereas other warriors will sometimes start their defensive items, not really worry about Death's Toll, is that he has a chain attack, and the last hit on it is AoE, giving him more healing on those final hits.
But there's a gank coming in as well right at the same time. Baskin felt confident there in that after the engagement, but he may go down to the tower here. No,
oh, man.
They will not dive in for that pickup.
Wiggles missed his 3, which may have allowed him to get closer and to secure a couple more auto attacks, but Baskin, he's just going to back there, make sure he stays safe. He hits level 5, and it's still rotating over. No blink online, though, so it's going to be hard for him to get into this. He may be able to burst Salt Machine, but after Salt Machine hits 5, it's not looking as smooth.
For Wiggles more often, but he just hit 5 as he came around the corners. Also, Fear No Evil is available if required. The all-in combo shoots Fear No Evil in response. The poison's ticking. The ultimate through space and time gets fired, does not connect, and Baskin, you cannot chase down onto Wiggles and find the kill.
Baskin had used his 1 there to get in position to try and secure the kill to begin with. Not available to him right there to help him speed up, because it does give you a significant amount of movement speed.
Bauer and Jeff doing a good job in this duo lane for the time being, trying to keep the pressure on them. Obviously, the wave clear pretty even between these two sides, honestly, ever so slightly favouring the side of Cloud9 more often than not here. And Vicium got a full mini wave still to clear at half HP.
Right camp starting to spawn here, and it looks like those are going to be going over to enemy who have the game is pretty even, about 100 gold lead off of those mid camps, but I mean there's nothing to tell about so far. Serqet finishing boots 2 and also getting that blink, so expect Ananser to be making some motion towards one of the lanes. Maybe he's going to be camping Salt Machine, which we saw him do against Walrus on Denial last week. That's what he seems to be focusing on a lot.
We've seen a lot of this over in North America from the top teams as well, that they'll camp the solo lane, try and get themselves ahead. These two solo laners, though, they're not easy ones to bring down. We've already seen a gank onto Baskin that didn't really pay off for them, and then Salt Machine, well, he's going to be tanky too. They do find a kiss on Paydivion into a taunt. A bit of poke damage, but fortunately the shield was there for Pain. They didn't really eat that much.
I almost thought Wiggles was going to teleport in there, but not electing to. Enemy not wanting to fight just this early on.
He didn't have his ultimate up, did he? Because he just used it on the right-hand side.
If that was up, we likely would have seen him go in.
Well, he's just come up now, and Anistis is also up as well, so keep an eye on that Serqet. It's normally the person that drives the order of things in the jungle. At least at the start of the games, they're the ones with the most mobility, and because of that, you generally see them looking for the early kills.
A lot of high lockdown as well. Not only does he have the percentage damage, but his base, or Serqet's base numbers are very high early on. And it's once again putting some pressure on that solo lane, but gonna miss his combo.
Now, because he missed the kiss there, what you actually saw is him just really disengage, because you want the 2 poison stacks to be able to get the 3rd one with your ultimate, and then use the in-hand to do the extra damage. Your passive allowing you to do more damage once you've got poison stacks on. So he just like walked away basically, just wanted to give him a little poke.
It also does it. You also need the Cobra's Kiss to secure the 3 taps on Deathbane. You need to hit all of your abilities to really find that kill as Serqet not able to do it. So he's actually going to stay here, though. You can see Ananster, he was making moves towards the enemy blue buff, but electing to back, noticing that Wiggles has rotated over here. Now the question did Baskin notice? Yeah, okay. He's just going to come in and get the farm.
As well. Just by how quickly we saw Salt Machine come back to lane more than anything to get the blue buff, you can always tell if the jungler is in your area, in the solo lane, is if the enemy solo laner comes back to lane very quickly after heading to his blue, because obviously it should take a little bit of a while to do.
Not a lot of warding coming out on the map right now. Most of the first wards that these teams place have fallen off. You can see Jeff Hindley going to be backing, picking up 2 more, making to get vision. No sentry wards yet, so they're very expensive. You typically do want some sentry wards to make sure you have the key parts on the map sentry warded. You can take a look there at the left side mid harpies. You can see that Cloud9 do have the sentry ward control over there, and they want to make sure to keep that because those are very high priority gank spots for enemy junglers.
We just checked in with the Hunters as well. Barracuda going to have a slight lead for the time being because of the Transcendence build. It will be more damage than the Devour's Gauntlets for now until the stacks do get all the way up there. 75 stacks now on that Devour's Gauntlets. Only need 50 on the Transcendence to get the full damage off, so Barracuda will control that lane for the time being, at least until Vicium does manage to get himself more sustained.
Barracuda's also going to make sure he doesn't take any poke. He doesn't want to get into any poke wars. He just wants to make sure if Edium gets out of position, but a gank in mid, Wiggles, they're looking for stealth. Can he portal through in time? He's actually taunted through space and time, though. Going to keep stealth safe. And actually, we see an ult coming out from Jeff Hindley over on the left side as the gank's going on there. Vedium, his ultimate is already used. He's going to be down. Ananster finds first blood.
What a great play from Cloud9, though. Defensive in mid lane where the big gank pressure was, and Jeff Hindley with a big-time taunt, in all honesty, to make sure his teammates survived. And then on top of that, had the presence of mind to turn around and ult the other side of the map to make sure he got credit with the assist.
That was a perfect play from Jeff Hindley there, and nothing else can be said about that. But Ananster, this time, focusing on the duo lane, Salt Machine has seen what's been happening when teams face AFK and Cloud9, especially when they get Serqet in their hands. He knows to be playing defensively, and I don't think Anister is going to have very easy ganks on him.
On top of that, he's also on a god that's very hard to kill for a Serqet as well. It's not a prime target. Serqet generally looking for squishier opportunities. Not easy to gank New Warrior mid lane, even though she's squishy because of the fire shards, which she can take to the sky and get herself out of combat. So he will be turning his attention more than likely to Rama time and time again.
General reset around the map. Cloud9 have a 500 gold lead. That's just coming off the first blood for now. Cooldown boots finished for Geb, so not electing to go Traveler shoes like Jeff Hinla has on the other side of the way. Pain the Beyond, just looking for cooldowns. More indicative of someone who's looking to get to late game and farm elsewhere.
Farm elsewhere indeed. Solely though being worked on by Barracuda here as well, so his damage is going to go through the roof very, very soon. Already poking, chunking quite hard onto these minions, as you can tell. But with that, Solly is going to have the sustain he needs as well.
And it's going to be sitting over here. That ward is in favor of Cloud9. Salt Machine, I don't know if you recognize it. Here comes the gank.
There was a ward in the jungle area. They can just see between the two blue buff right in the middle there. There we go, the enemy ward.
The sentry, yep.
Where Baskin is. And that's just giving away vision that Anderson was in the area. Salt Machine played it well, and you could even see the rotation from Wiggles there, just to support if required. Mid lane though.
And it's trying to find Chaos with the Cobra's Kiss, but Chaos keeping his distance, not going to make it easy for him. And Anister twice now rotating over to that soul lane, trying to find the Cobra's Kiss, not able to do it.
Yeah, the roam is good at the moment from Cloud9. You can see the stealth once he clears the minion waves, leaves lane. He is Janus after all the conky pressure. Andy trying to find Wiggles in the jungle here, forces the blink once Baskin came on the corner, so Wiggles blink is going to be on cooldown for the time being.
And it's very hard to see this Hunbat's gank now with blink down. Anister still remaining over here, and they're going to look for Salt Machine now, and the Athena, it's going to be coming through a very early ult from Salt Machine to make sure that Cloud9's aggression is stopped.
Tried to combine that as well. Athena ulted and Xbalanque ulted as well, so both of them not going to find anything from that. Visham was under the tower there. Barra tried to pressure, but it came to naught for the time being. Harpy's on the right, will spawn soon. An enemy in a position to contest with Anister.
Anister, though, he's actually going to be caught between multiple people. Able to jump over the wall. New wall will not finish, but he's going to get low.
You said he will not finish. That was trustworthy. 16 HP?
I told you it wouldn't finish.
Wow.
I told you it wouldn't finish. It actually did more damage than I thought, though. That's the pin boots. That is the pin boots.
If only your predictions were as good as your chances.
Hey, you missed the predictions, too. You said you're the one who labeled it free FP week.
It is free FP week, really. Like, everybody thought it was free FP week.
Everyone did.
Everybody did.
Not looking like it so far. And
I'm going to say every week now, just to annoy people. 10 minutes in, though, 1-0. A slow-paced game for all it's worth so far. There's no real gold leaders as it stands now. It's about 700. Experience-wise, though, if you can check the graphs, please, side, and we should be able to see experience is slightly in favor of Cloud9 as well, but it's not much at the moment.
Yeah, we don't really see any big level differences. We see one on the Hunter, and that's Barracuda. They were able to lock down Vedium early on, and then in the mid lane, Stealth having one level on Chaos. Nothing too crazy. Chaos, though, has a Sentry Ward, and that's what we're seeing a lot from these mid laners is they like to make sure they're safe. They put a lot of wards around these mid camps. You can see 3 Sentry Wards, 2 on the south side of the mid camps, 1 on the top side.
It's just allowing to keep full control and try and rotate. Sorry, watch the rotations out of the enemy junglers as well, if that's all possible. As we look towards the mid-game, though, because we're already starting to hit that mid-game spot now as we start to see third items being built, what we'll actually find out then is, with these two teams, on paper, they seem very, very even in terms of mid-late game composition. Maybe a slight favour, I want to say, to enemy, but maybe not. It's kind of one of those.
Yeah, you look at Cloud9, and right now they're all about mobility. They're all about the global presence. Baskin, though, he shouldn't die here, but taking a lot of poke from Salt Machine.
I love the Hot Ward Amulet that came out from Salt Machine, though, just to give him the magical protections he needs. Also provides, you know, some extra physical protection too, thanks to the aura. And Wiggles, well, he's waiting around the corner for Baskin.
There's no wards. Baskin, though, trying to throw a ward over the wall, I believe. He doesn't have one in his inventory. He has no idea that Wiggles is here. I think he suspects it, though.
Now blinking. There's the Fear Weaver perfectly positioned as well to force him into the wall. No other follow-up available, though, and they're going to get out the good ultimate from Xbalanque there from Barracuda to support his teammate. I think the call was from Baskin saying, I'm getting gagged, and now Andy's here to counter.
And now Jeff Hinla's going to be ulting down. No jump from Wiggles. There's the taunt, though. One auto. Anister, he's going to find the counter engage. Salt Machine returns to his tower. And Cloud9, their global presence is so strong. Not only do they have Darkest Knights coming out from Barracuda, but Jeff Hinla can teleport himself to the team fights with his ultimate. MLC Stealth can get the team there. tons of mobility from Serqet. And then even Baskin, he has teleport.
Not just the kill they got, they also managed to find that blue buff on the right hand side. They're looking potentially for Chaos in mid lane there. The taunt does connect, but a good shield from Pain de Beyond will save him from any further threat. Pain not too scared on this Geb right now, but he is eating a bit of poke.
He's going to back off though. Cloud9 taking the small wins so far. Haven't been able to get anything off of it outside of kills though. And that's what they need to look for starting to come into this mid game. They want to find these picks, but they want to make sure they can do gold afterwards. We're likely to see a lot more pressure on these mid laners, and especially on supports too, as they're rotating between the lanes. I expect Pain de Beyond is the next look that Cloud9's going to try and pick off. If not, it's going to be Chaos.
At the moment though, from Cloud9's game style, this game has all been about counter ganking more often than not. Mid lane, we saw the first gank attempt come out from Wiggles, and in response, Cloud9, well, they got the kill on the duo lane, and then in the solo, we saw a gank fail again from enemy, but the counter gank from Cloud9 was good. This is the patient strategy. I think we saw this earlier on in this weekend too.
That was, yeah, it was Justice facing off against Titan. They allowed Titan to be very aggressive, and Justice, they just waited for it. They had the global presence as well. They had the Thor, they had the Janus, and then as soon as Titan engaged on them, they would immediately counter-engage, and Justice ended up winning that style. Maybe Cloud9, having watched that game, that's what they're looking to do.
Trying to adopt that for themselves, maybe, or they had it in their head anyway, but at least this game, the counter style is working out because he's actually holding the minions there.
He's done that multiple times. Stealth has been very efficient at splitting his waves.
It's a really good split as well. He's level 15 in that mid lane. He's got a 2-level lead over Chaos, and he's got a 2-level, just to be clear, MLC's got a 2-level lead in that lane, and he's not even been involved in a kill.
And he's also been sharing a lot of it, that experience. Vedium, beads are forced. Anister probably not going to be able to secure this one.
Gets the ult and beads and gets out again. Really good play from Anister. Now Vishim is under threat in this lane, and you can see that the teammates of enemy were on the rotation over. All of them were coming to defend, but if Vishim gets himself caught out again, he could die very quickly now.
Anister going to be rotating back to mid lane here. I think he wants to fight, but that enemy ward, it's right on top of him. Jeff Hindle looking for the taunt is going to grab Pain de Beyond, and Anister's going to turn on him, but with that Geb shield, that's going to deter a lot of it.
Wiggles to Bay though, going to go to Fear No Evil, forcing Anister away. Barracuda caught in a very awkward spot. Rising Jaguar plus the protections from Jeff's ultimate will protect him for now. Fire shots will rain down, but the sustain off the minions will keep Barra alive.
That's just going to be a clear disengage from both teams, and Cloud9 wanted to fight, but this time enemy was ready for them. You could see Wiggles the Bay, perfect counter engage. Under tower though, Salt Machine going to be taking a lot of poke from that tower. Typically in these soul lane matchups, warrior versus warrior, physical versus physical, you have a lot of early physical protection built, which is strong against towers.
An invade by enemy looking for the red buff. Jeff's going to get a ton onto 2 members there. The poke on Pain is good, but it's actually Barracuda's getting turned off, has to get out. Blinking from Anister the through space and time. Comes from the back from Stealth. He's going to get an unstable vortex off. Chaos is going to fall down. The poison does not spread, and he's trying to get away. Great shots from Vishim though to secure the kill on his escape route, but now comes the solo lane. Baskin is here, and the boys of enemy are starting to fall.
Pain de Beyond's going to fall there. That's going to be 4 dead on the side of enemy, and Cloud9 are going to make their way to this Gold Fury here, and it's likely to be free. Meanwhile, Salt Machine was able to take a tier 1 tower working on the tier 2, but
I think Baskin's call was correct there to actually teleport over there.
Yes, that is 100% worth.
Tower in response.
And that's the thing, Salt Machine, he doesn't have teleport to towers, he has no actives, and if you don't have teleport by now as a solo laner, your plan is to not go teleport. But he may need to pick it up if he's going to be remaining in this lane and not getting enough off of it.
Well, on top of that now, even if he tries to continue split pushing there, with Baskin having that teleport, Baskin can just go join the team fight and teleport back to defend the tier 2 if required. So 6-1 is the scoreline after the Gold Fury going down. It's 3,800 gold in favor of Cloud9, along with just under 7,000, actually just over 7,000 experience for them too. That one team fight just really boosted the charts dramatically.
Yeah, because take a look, Stealth already had a slight lead, and then after that team fight, they pick up 4 kills as well as the Gold Fury and a tier 1 tower in mid lane. It's just a huge swing coming out for Cloud9. Right now, they're setting up strong. MLC Stealth, a 3-level lead on his direct lane matchup. Not something you see in such a game, in a game that's been pretty close outside of one fight.
Yeah, exactly. There wasn't much of an experience or gold disparity, really, but all that gold experience disparity was on MLC, thanks to the superior farming he's been doing so far this game.
1,500 already. It's half their lead.
Level 17 on Baskin as well, so they're doing good work for themselves, both ahead of their counterparts. Baskin ever so slightly. I think that's more due to the rotation and the double kill pickup.
Yes, I believe so as well. That's clearly it. right now, though. A Blinken by Anitzer, and he's going to stealth. Vedium saw him.
I'm pretty sure Visham saw him.
You see, he was walking towards the minions. He saw that. He's like, no, don't even try.
To be fair, if you see a Scorpion out in the middle of the road, you're going to stop too.
I'm pretty sure he blinked right behind Barracuda. I'm pretty sure. I think that was the plan, at least. It's just Vedium noticed it a little too quickly.
Try blink behind an ambush and just stealth straight away. Yeah, maybe just before he could get in lane, but unfortunately not going to be the case. Doesn't pay off for him for the time being. So Anister with a tier 1 tower also going down in the mid lane too. More map pressure available for Cloud9 to start roaming the jungle like they are doing. Anister may start swinging over for his camp in the solo lane, which
Salt Machine. There's 5 here. Salt Machine has no beads. He needs to be very careful. Blink is down by Anister. He did use it in the lane. And instead, Cloud9, they're going to just be taking this tower. Enemy, though, they don't want to give it up for free. Pain the Beyond not electing to blink in and take that fight.
Find anything there, 18 minutes in the game. I really like the call, though, from some of the pro teams now. We saw this from Titan that like to group up early on and try and pressure the towers. People realizing just take that global goal, give up the map, get the map presence a little bit more. Pushing 4 men together, it doesn't really lose you too much sometimes in terms of other lanes.
Enemy trying to do the same 3-man group up in mid. Anister going to blink forward, looking for Pain the Beyond, but that's not the target he wants, just way too tanky.
I think he wanted that target. The problem was is that when he kissed him, it went towards the opposition and not towards him. It's just too close to his teammate to really make something happen with that one this time around. But Anister definitely not scared of using this blink at all.
And he's already got a rank 2, so typically you won't see it upgraded until it's rank 3. Anister showing that he wants that cooldown. Anytime it's up, he's going to be utilizing it in mid lane. Pain the Beyond just barely backing. Jeff Hinla and Stealth were 100% looking to pick him off.
Yeah, this is still 3-1-3 so far. Working on that crit, more than likely a Deathbringer will be due up for him. His counterpart, though, not that far behind him in terms of optimization, but you can see his goal disparity between the two. Well, it's just under 1,000 right about now.
And Serqet's going to be building into Deathbringer, which is a huge item worth a lot of gold, whereas Hunbatz, he has multiple options, so there's going to be a small window because Anister's going to be needs to invest so much gold to finish that Deathbringer that Wiggles de Bay will be on par with him if he elects to go a cheaper item early on.
2,000 gold in hand for Anister as well, so he's working on that crate. Should be finished very, very soon. Serqet has as much experience as he can. MLC Stealth is level 18 now, but the gap has been closed by Chaos, which is good work to just 2 levels. Actually, I was going to say to 2 levels, but then he just hit 19.
So. Taking half his life from the rotation.
Big rotation from enemy though as well. Wiggles de Bay's over here, Chaos is over here. That's a preemptive ultimate coming out as well from Jeff, expecting the gank to come. So he wanted to rotate, get himself in position. Left RPs are going to go down. Gold Fury still not spawned for another 50 seconds. And both teams disengage.
Stealth in the mid lane here. Both teams actually grouped with the mid lane. And we see this a lot for Pain de Beyond, trying to catch Anister, hidden in the stealth, but Anister quickly going to dash away. Jeff Hinla's taunt going to keep enemy at a slower pace, not allowed him to go. And I really like that play from Pain the Beyond, even though it didn't work out. He's been hiding in this fog constantly, and it's throwing Cloud9 off. You could see there, they tried to pick off Anister, but Anister, very fast reaction on his beads.
It did cost him his beads, though, and it also cost Barracuda's ult in trade as well. So we might not see any aggression out of Anister for a little while, unless someone's definitely cut out of position. So far, though, everyone's playing relatively safe. Just the tier 1 towers down in the solo lane at the moment, the one in the mid lane after that big engagement. And that's all that we've really got to talk about more than anything.
I mean, there hasn't been that much action, but Cloud9 still holds a 5,000 gold lead. They've just been slowly increasing it. All they need is another one of those big fights, but it's going to be rough because enemy does have a couple big team fighting ultimates. You take a look, Fear No Evil. You also have Vishium's ult, and a Cataclysm could come out.
Well, Stealth is about to go back to base and finish off an item there. We'll see what it actually goes for, whether it's going to be Void Stone or it's going to be the Spear, which we see often, but his damage is going to start ramping him now with that Book of Thoth nearly stacked.
Already, and he got that very early. That's his farm right now has been on point, sharing so many camps and even splitting his own wave. Anister also very far ahead of Wiggles right now. Spirit Robe being worked on by Wiggles, so he's going the defensive route. Deathbringer on line for Serqet.
Speed of this game so far dictates it. We're going to see most people, if not everybody, reach level 20 before we see too much more action here. Everyone's starting to creep up their bastion, has hit it already. Salt Machine not far behind him at the moment, and MLC, as we've
look at this bait
a lot. Oh, he's around. They know what's up though. Enemy doing the right thing, he's sending Gem forward first, and he's positioned himself so he's not caught too far out of position where his team can't support.
Cloud9, they're looking to find, they pick someone off. That Gold Fury spawned again, and They just want one player to get out of position, and that's going to allow them to force a Gold Fury and take a fight. They want to have the numbers advantage. They don't want a full commit on Geb, though. They know it could get turned around. Here it is, though. The taunt, see, taunt not even coming out. There it is. Now they're going to try and burst him. Meanwhile, over on the side, Wiggles to Bay is getting forced out by Serqet. Anister forces him out of the fight early. That's a huge team fighting ultimate they can't use.
They're looking at Pain to Beyond right now, and Salt Machine just zoning people away. Pain to Beyond taking a little bit more poke pressure, but he is
Enemy
taking,
can't fight this.
He has rolled out, though, and now Pain to Beyond could be in a bit of trouble now. No, they turn their attention to Chaos, who gets a good stun off, but falls through the Banish portal, and now he's surrounded by the Tremors, but Baskin drops the Tremors early, knowing the rate of fire is coming down as well.
Big fight coming out here. Blink in, Cataclysm on though. Free or no evil, Baskin does take out Chaos through space and time. MLC Stealth gets through the portal, not going to die so far. Wiggles versus Baskin. Wiggles can't fight into this. There's the Geb shield to make sure he's not slowed anymore. An enemy, they only lose one, but
a crazy nothing fight that comes out of it. Everybody's still alive other than Chaos, like you said. Maybe we'll see Cloud9 consider re-engaging here, but they might just look for the Gold Fury instead. Actually, no, they're just going to reset and
they're
go back
too
to
low.
base.
They used almost all of their ultimates. Actually, they used every single ultimate. Spirit, the ultimate coming out from Salt Machine, the only one remaining.
I mean, they put a lot onto Geb there to begin with and then switched their attention and focus to Chaos. They did find the kill, though, but after that, they didn't have anything else to be able to follow up or close out the game, close out the fight at all.
The big thing for me was that Serqet full committed onto Batz. Wiggles the Bay was able to live, then come back into the fight before it really broke out and get off a Fear No Evil to stop Cloud9's aggression. Speaking of aggression, though.
All in on Vishim on this right-hand side.
He's done.
Left-hand side. He will go down to the crit as well. Wiggles the base here with a big Fear No Evil. Now the rotation from Pain to Beyond might be able to follow up with a good shockwave as well. But MLC Stealth is here, and now is Pain to Beyond and cut out of position.
He's not caught out of position. Wiggles baited him so hard. No one else on enemy was even close. And Wiggles, he hasn't gone into damage. He's picked up Spirit Robe. There was 3 players on Cloud9 full health while the rest of his team was over in mid lane. There was no way he was finding a kill there. Pain to Beyond baited into keeping him alive. He's going to fall. They're going to lose their tier 1 tower for it, and now Cloud9's already setting up for Gold Fury.
Yeah, they steal away the purple buff as well. Wiggles to Bay, no ultimate available. Their frontline, Salt Machine, well, he might need to come over here and defend it. They're going to give it up, though. Salt Machine's going to go back to base. Gold Fury's going to go to Cloud9 one more time.
There's no way enemy can fight into this. They had already lost 2. They knew they were going to lose the Gold Fury. They had very little chance to try and steal it away. And even if they stole it away, they likely would have lost multiple players in response and probably another tower. I like the decision from enemy, but they need to slow down the pace of the game. They need to not be looking for these counter engages unless their team's in position for it. For now, they need to focus on farming and force Cloud9 to take a bad fight.
Will they take a bad fight is the question now. Is it going to clear their own jungle for the time being at 25 minutes in? With that tier 1 being down in the left-hand lane, it just leaves enemy with tier 2 towers now to start defending from. And when those fall down, Adonis, we have this situation, right, where the map becomes more open.
It becomes much more open, and that's these tier 1 towers being down mean Cloud9 have a much better fire giant fight because enemy, they can't push up too far. They don't have that safety net to fall to the tower and slow down potential dives. Instead, if they come to check on Fire Giant and Cloud9 are in the area, you could fully expect Cloud9 to jump on them. And they have that mobility with the Janus ult to chase anyone who's caught out of position trying to counter ward to lock them down.
Well, 4 items completed now for the majority of Cloud9. You can see Voidstone just finished
Barracuda
on Baskin as well. Barracuda on the left-hand side, he looks a little bit cut out of position here, but with that big ultimate Darkest of Nights, he might be able to reapply the pressure of his teammates. Are going to rotate. They do with the through space of time. Anderson on the backside looking for Wiggles, but a good shield from Pain will disengage it for the moment.
Fear No Evil just to try and break up this fight. Salt Machine's here as well, though. Serqet's getting very low, already under half. Shell going to keep her alive for now. She's going to be jumping out of this. Vicium raining down the snipes, not connecting on anyone, though.
There's the fire shots as well coming down that will help secure the kill for Wiggles to Bay onto Amnesty.
This is a good fight for enemy.
He's a little bit stuck in position here, has to back away, getting slowed down by Vicium. Salt Machine leading the way. The portal was very good from MLC Stealth there just to create the distance. And with Threshold, they should be able to get away.
Getting that pick on Barracuda or Serqet was huge. Ooh,
Monkey did
that
not
monkey,
connect.
he would have teleported to it. You know he would.
So overall, it was a 1-for-0 exchange in favor of enemy there.
They're looking at this mid tower. Most of Cloud9 forced to back. This is going to be free. Jeff Henlow's not going to be able to defend that, and he knows it. Just going to try and throw out some damage, but it looks like enemy's a little bit scared to do it. They're going to back off. Barracuda coming around the corner.
Yeah, Baskin was available, MLC Stealth was up, and he did have Ultimate available, so I guess they just chose the option of caution more than anything else here. They didn't want to give too much away, or potentially, like, to be fair, if they did lose a big fight there, it would have potentially been a fight.
It's true. Playing it safe for now. Enemy, they're playing to make it to the late game. None of them are level 20 outside of Salt Machine, but that's what they want to do. They want to farm. They want to make sure to get to late game, because right now the levels disparity is a little bit too much for them to fight into Cloud9. You could see 11,000 gold difference creeping up on an 8,000 gold lead, which means not full items ahead yet are Cloud9, but they're almost there.
Well, you can see in the crit as well, they're starting to come in line for the Hunters. This game's going to go very late at the moment. For a 27-minute game, we've only had 11 kills so far. And realistically, that's just been 2 team fights that have generated most of these kills. Other than the First Blood and the counter ganks coming out from Cloud9 early, there's not been too much in the way of aggression from these teams. It's just been a methodical farming game from both. And Cloud9 came out on top of that so far.
Pain the Beyond, very tanky there, taking that unstable vortex to the face, and it just barely tickling him. Anitzer looking for Batz over in the jungle once again, and that's, you could tell that that's Anitzer's prime target in these team fights, is anytime Wiggles walks in, his job is to, if not kill him, lock him down and force him out of the fight, meaning Fear No Evil will have no part in these engages.
And the reason he's looking for Wiggles more often than not just because of the Fear No Evil, but it's also he's the one that you can probably get hold of the easiest. Vishim has the ability to take to the sky and get himself out of combat. Chaos as well on that new wall has the same. Salt Machine's too tanky, and so is Pain de Beyond, so he's having to look for the monkey when he can.
Cloud9 continuing to be aggressive. No Gold Fury to take here over on this left side, spawning in about 50 seconds, but still looking to find some kills. MLC Stealth doing a ton of damage.
Starting to chunk now as well. Not got Rod of Tahuti finish yet, but it is being worked on for him as well. When that goes on, but in the jungle, Anister potentially being a little bit cheeky, going aggressive in that area, looking for the speed buff. It is spawning now, though, so we might see...
He just saw it, too.
Yep,
he walked by and it wasn't up.
Keep an eye on the mid lane as well. We're going to see Athena rotating in and MLC Stealth to contest the speed buff, and I think enemy is just going to give it up, or wait to initiate once it gets pulled.
Bear is rotating, and Vishim is following him into the jungle.
This will be a big fight.
Enemy don't want to give this up. They're fighting for it.
Well, there's good talk from Jeff Hindler onto 2 to keep them busy for now. No beats wasted there. From inside, Pain de Beyond trying to force them back as Jeff is now a little bit caught off from his team. Baskin's hanging around to support him in case he needs to use his ultimate to disengage. A little bit of poke pressure as the Hunters have now joined the fight too. Portal onto Pain de Beyond. Has to shield himself, which means he might see some more aggression. Baskin on the front side though takes a lot of poke from Vishim here, but now here comes the ultimates.
Baskin, he's going to fall immediately in that fight. Jeff Hindley, he's going to be through. He's looking for Wiggles. Wiggles, though, CC immune. Vishim, one more hit, but he's actually being body blocked out. Barracuda, great Gep Shield, going to keep Vishim alive for now. The snipe finishes him off, though. Stealth finishes that kill. Barracuda dies to the ultimate.
Stealth is going to go down there as well before he can get through the portal as well. And now the only man that's going to live is Andinster. Enemy switched this one on its head completely. A 4-for-1 exchange in their own side of the jungle. Great play.
That was Cloud9 taking too long to pull the trigger. You saw Baskin fighting into it. I don't know if that was his decision or the team's decision, but by the time the Athena ult came through on him, he was dead. He took so much poke, 1 versus 3, that it just became a numbers game. An enemy focusing the right targets. Also, Vishim staying alive for as long as he did should not have happened, and it really baited Barracuda out of position.
Well, they've got a few seconds left until Baskin spawns with this teleport. Can they get the Fire Giant down in time? Can Baskin get here with Andinster to try and contest it? Actually, Andinster going to give it up. He's just going to do his speed buff and pick this one up, and you can see Pain de Beyond there being well aware of the potential, so drops a ward down. Fire Giant's going to go to enemy, and this game's just switched on its head now.
It's still a 6,000 to 7,000 gold deficit, but enemy, this Fire Giant buff is fighting right back into it. It's going to give them 50 physical power, 70 magical power, and also percentage health regen during these fights.
And not only that, they can start picking out off these towers that they've lost themselves here, the tier 1s, and that's going to be an additional 1,000 gold if they get those 2 tier 1s in mid and the duo lane as well.
If I'm enemy here, I'm not looking to force a fight with this Fire Giant. What I'm doing is I'm looking to out-farm Cloud9 with this buff. I want to take the Gold Fury. I want to take a couple tier 1 towers. I don't want to force anything because it's still very risky, and just close the gap and make the next Fire Giant the fight we look for.
Well, pulling the trigger was the order of the day, and it was enemy that ended up coming out on top in the end. They are looking at the Gold Fury though. Vishim going to start pulling this one. Cloud9 considering going aggressive here. They're just going to back up actually and not do it because we saw Jeff on the left was looking. but changed his mind.
I expect Cloud9 to be defending these tier 2 towers. Maybe not tier 1, but it looks like they're going to hold steady. They're actually looking to fight this. Barracuda and Serqet hiding around this corner, stealth as well. They don't have vision on these players, and they are going to take a strong stance at this tier 1.
And this is around the side as well. Jeff's going to be looking for a taunt if he can. There's the taunt, but he took a lot of poke damage for that one, and now the Finno Evil comes in from Wiggles. The Bay on the backside of that, only connecting with 2, but Barry's very low, and that fire shot should bring him down when he's fired off into the sky. No, he will live for now, but Stealth is in trouble and has to disengage too.
Salt Machine went super deep there, but it obviously paid off. Still almost full life. You can see Baskin, he was trying to rotate around the side and catch enemy unaware, but wasn't able to find the position to get in there and lock any target down. That's going to be a tier 2 taken by enemy. They're going to rotate over to this left side, take out the tier 1. Cloud9. 4 ultimates still available though, so they could still fight. Enemy burned all of theirs.
But the thing about enemy as well in this is they're doing a great job so far. Currently sat at 6 and 6 and 2.
Yes.
Now up against Cloud9, who are 2 and 2. They've had some tough opposition, and they're taking it to Cloud9 now once again. The team fight is just so strong. Maybe a little lack on the farming side of things against Cloud9, but in team fights they've done okay.
Salt Machine is so big, and he is going to take a lot of poke there because he doesn't have an absurd amount of magical protection, and stealth is starting to chunk, but Salt Machine so far has done a fantastic job of zoning out the important targets that enemy doesn't want Cloud9 to get into, but a big taunt coming out from Jesh Finland, going to lock in too.
Don't crack, let's pay Divion to try and zone him out though. Through space and time does connect to the backside to Chaos. There's the unstable vortex blocked out by the Aegis, but he's still going to fall down, I believe, to the poison damage coming out from Anderson.
No, he's fine.
No, he'll be out. Meanwhile, on the backside, Barracuda's chunking Salt Machine, but Salt Machine so very tanky up against these physical gods.
Yeah, back coming through. Baskin just barely gets it off before the New Wall ultimate comes through. Cloud9 very poked out for now. And enemy, with that Fire Giant buff ticking, that's just the health regen they have. That's going to be a free tier 1. There's no way C9.
Enemy had used all their ultimates, and Cloud9 had most of theirs up. I mean, Pain Divion was the only one to use an ultimate in that engagement at the start of it, at least. And now they're going to be able to, like you said, take tier 1. Pain Divion realizing the back happens, so going to tank this one up with that one Archer minion. It's going to be enough for them to bring down that tower as well. Don't forget, new wild clay minions also help out.
Yeah, the big thing for me there was that enemy's ult came up in the middle of the fight. Cloud9 initiated thinking their ults were down, which they were at the time, but then you saw the Fear No Evil off of the big taunt, and Fear No Evil right now has done a great job of splitting up Cloud9 and allowing enemy to find the targets they're looking for, and they did exactly what I thought they did. They weren't going to force fights. Cloud9 was the instigators. They were just going to look to even up the gold, and the next Fire Giant was their key. Gold difference, 600.
Not much at all now separating these two teams. Gazilla's only 17 kills in this game so far. The early game was very methodical from both teams, but enemy in the team fight stage as well, starting to reign supreme now over Cloud9, who has started to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, and Fire Giant going to be spawning here. 50 seconds left on that. All of Cloud9 and enemy grouping up on this right-hand side. Level 20s across the board, outside the sports sitting at 18. Chen Sai's finished for Salt Machine now. He didn't have that in the last engagement, and you could tell he wasn't doing that much damage, but now he's going to start chunking with that percentage damage.
He's at a full build right now. He's on at 3-0 and 316,000 gold. And it's used so far to get to this stage, and now enemy, they're starting to siege up the right-hand side, looking for a pick in the jungle if they can find it. The Fire Giant does spawn again in 20 seconds, and that's why they're looking for a potential pick and to get presence in this jungle to get ward coverage.
I fully expect Salt Machine to focus down Barracuda. You take a look at his build, a lot of physical protection, a lot of health, but also hide and shield to the underworld. If Barracuda auto-attacks him, he's just going to be killing himself.
Well, Salt Machine's done good work so far for his team. Not been focused this game like we saw out of Cloud9 previously, camping the solo laner. So he's managed to get himself in a pretty good position for the time being. Stealth on the left-hand side, split from his team, but he is Janus, so he has the potential to do that. They might catch Baskin base in there. Nope, Baskin's going to stay around. And enemy going to retreat towards the Fire Giant and start this one up. Don't forget, a lot of mobility on Cloud9 though. They can swing this in an instant with a big burst of damage.
And enemy knows this. They don't want to start the Fire Giant. They want to look for picks, and this is the pick they're going for. It's going to be Stealth. Stealth actually wiggles, teleports through. Follows him.
Was amazing. Vishim did take to the sky to try and snipe him. Did turn some damage back into Cloud9 instead, but with Janus,
this is enemy's fight.
This is a good situation.
They're going to take this.
He's going to go for the tier 2.
Blink up. Oh no, Pain Devion. Oh, big Fear No Evil, but
not going to connect really. It was off the mark unfortunately for him, but he does get the tower.
Yeah, and they're just going to keep that pressure on and make their way to that Fire Giant. 40 seconds left on Stealth, however, he does have ultimate. Enemy, they need to take this window while they can to take Fire Giant, because once Stealth has spawned, you know he's going to be there with that global mobility. All of Cloud9, they're working their way towards Fire Giant, but it looks like they're giving up. They don't want to fight this.
No, they're not going. Fire Giant to enemy again. The second one they're going to get themselves this game. And now, with all the towers down, it's only Phoenixes they've got to look for here.
And enemy, they've already spent most of the gold that they had. It looks like they're going to be just trudging up this mid lane and start doing that. They're going to start pressuring multiple lanes and force Cloud9 to split. You can see them push up mid wave, make their way to left, but it looks like they're just going to keep playing safe. They have a lot of time on Fire Giant. They need to make sure they utilize this effectively. Steal away the red buff, finish gold, finish your item builds, and then rotate back and push up these lanes.
Yeah, you can see how much gold they've got in hand. 2,500 on Chaos on that new war, so it should be close to finishing off that run of Tahuti here. Yeah, more than likely.
That's going to be done.
It can be definitely finished because you'll sell that Vampiric Shroud as well, more than likely if you needed to. 2,900 actually after the gold dealer going down, thinking about that. You could buy a Tahuti outright, I believe, if you wanted to.
It's pretty close there. Midgardian Mail going to be finished for Geb. A lot of physical defense on his side. Tahuti finished. Crit online for Vicium. Has Deathbringer and Rage done.
Full builds. You want to check out what full builds should look like on the gods you like playing. There's a good opportunity to see it. Obviously, some builds do change though based on your opposition, and there's no greater opposition than someone like Cloud9 for enemy to face and have a really good game against so far, in all honesty.
Full builds being completed for Cloud9 as well though. Janus looking for his last, Serqet looking for her last crit item. Deathbringer almost finished for Barracuda. This is the window that enemy needs to take. They want to take this fight. They have Fire Giant. They have full build. Cloud9 still working on their last items. They're not going to have a better opportunity outside of right this second, right this moment. This is their chance, and you can see them. They're starting to push up this left side.
That's exactly what Cloud9 are going to do to defend this now at the moment. There's not that many wards in the jungle. They've not warded it up at the moment. They're just going to hold at the Phoenixes and try and defend there. Keep it on Pain Devion though. Pain Devion and Wiggles both able to dive in and force an initiation if they want to. And the Salt Machine will more than likely, well, definitely follow up on that one and start chunking away.
Salt Machine's looking to lock down Barracuda. I want to see him shut him down and make sure Barracuda is a non-factor for Cloud9. Big blink in coming out. Jeff Hinley going to taunt out too here.
Good little crit coming out from Barracuda, forcing away. Good ultimate from Baskin, two to his own people into place. The Tremors into the Athena, into the ultimate coming out from MLC Stealth. Round the back, Stealth comes in, can't find the unstable vortex though. The poison is damaging onto Wiggles, but it's not enough to kill him. As the snaps come out from Vicium, trying to find Barracuda on the backside. The taunt being focused by Salt Machine, but a good defense from Amninster.
Yeah, great defense by Cloud9 in general. Baskin continuing to be aggressive here. Stealth caught out of position a little bit. He has his portals though. Gonna be getting out safely. Baskin focusing on Salt Machine. Pain Devion is here. Lord of the Afterlife. Salt Machine, he wants to fight, but he's getting it taunted back. Geb Shield to keep him alive for now. Jeff Hinla, he's low.
Here, Barrett is here and he's full HP as well. They've got to be careful of him. Run away. Enemy are gonna have to retreat here. They've still got Fire Giant on 3 members, but that fight did not go as they wanted.
They didn't go as they wanted. They weren't able to pick off a single target. And now Barracuda, he's still looking for Salt Machine. Teleport coming through in the back line, though. Anitzer missing that taunt. Going to be focusing on Wiggles, but it's going to be turned on.
Big Fear No Evil does race to securing, but now Wiggles is going to get caught because the shield is down from Pain. Somersault used. Pain may have the body block here. Use the shockwave. Good Cataclysm defensively used. Salt Machine's on his way back. Barry, be careful.
Farah, he's already used his dash. Nowhere for him to go. Geb Shield, a great bait from enemy. Now Baskin, with that portal, going to be able to get out. Chaos, his ultimate was available. He's going to be slowing down targets in stealth. He has his ultimate cooldown. He should be relatively safe here. Doesn't even need it for now.
Ooh, that was close. See how much damage a Geb can actually do when you get a full build on him. Defensively, you know, defensive full build, but he can do a lot at level 20. And the burst nearly brought down stealth there. Luckily, he gets out by the skin of his teeth.
Still 3 members with Fire Giant for 3 more seconds. Enemy, they're coming up mid lane. Anitzer's down for 24 seconds. Barracuda's down for 38. They definitely want to force this.
They should be able to get a Phoenix here, potentially. Fire Giant has gone on cooldown though, so they've not got that on them any time soon again. Beats are available for most members of Cloud9 though. Can they get this Phoenix? Salt Machine leading the charge, going to get aggro from that Phoenix too. Stealth forced away, and the Phoenix will quickly fall.
3 more seconds on Serqet. Do they want to go to a different Phoenix? They do. You can see the rotations over onto this right-hand side. Serqet is up. Barracuda's up in 10 seconds, though. They need to do it now if they're going to take it. and it looks like they're just delaying a little bit too much, and they realize that with Barracuda spawning, they can't keep up this pressure.
The bait portal is out from stealth, and they were well aware of it, so they back away. Fire Giant, like you said, spawning very soon, 16 seconds, so they get the one Phoenix, which isn't so bad for them, and now they can set up at the Fire Giant one more time. Chaos's ultimate should be up relatively soon, and that'll be everybody's available for this next engagement.
Barracuda still doesn't have Deathbringer online. He's been fighting so much, but not able to farm up. In the meantime, that's his last item. That's when his damage is going to be truly there. Enemy, they're going to be starting up this Fire Giant. Serqet rotating in, but it's going to be hard for Anister to get in here. MLC Stealth does have his ultimate, but he's on the wrong side of the map. Not going to be able to get his team through.
Nope, enemy going to get the Fire Giant. Nobody going to be able to get there and contest it. Now Cloud9 with a Phoenix already down, have to defend the remaining two. They did a good job last time when they had the full team with the Fire Giant. Can they do it again?
Baskin, last fight, blinked into the backline and locked into in his ultimate. Well, he doesn't need to do the same. At the very least, Cloud9 needs to be looking to shut out Vicium. They took him to 10% life before he could respond and react. This time, if Vicium could stay full, it's going to be a lot riskier for Cloud9.
Enemy got themselves in a good position here. Tom from Jeff and onto Vicium, who doesn't panic, does roll straight back out afterwards as well. Meanwhile, Baskin on the front side, trading off with Salt Machine where he can, but Baskin's taking a lot of poke. MLC does secure Vicium though through the unstable vortex, and Jeff comes in as well. Pain is going to secure Baskin and trade, but now they're going in deep looking for Wiggles.
Wiggles going in deep himself. Barracuda on almost no health, forced out, but enemy, they're able to trade out 1-for-1 once again, secure the right Phoenix. Anister's waiting for them in their retreat though, and MLC Stealth, he's portaling through. He's caught in between three though.
He's going to have to portal out towards Anis. Anis engaging again onto Wiggles. They're going to try and pick him up, but the shield from Pain Devion is good once more. Wiggles will secure Anister before the ultimate does proc. The poison will not kill him off. Well, on the side though, Stealth over the wall finds the pick. And Chaos chased out Jeff.
3 for 2 in enemy's favor, and they grabbed it. Oh, great
Aegis
get shield,
shield.
great Aegis. Stealth, his blink is down. He has no cooldowns. Portal will be up here in a second, but it doesn't look like enemy. The fire minions have been pouring through the whole time. 2,600 left on it. This is enemy's game.
Only Jeff, only Barracuda's back, and there's MLC Stealth. I don't think they can defend this. It's too low. Enemy take a game off Cloud9. They already defeated Denial. Now they've taken one off AFK as well.
I don't think we can even call that an upset. I mean, enemy, the past couple weeks have proven themselves to be a top-tier team, and taking out Cloud9 is a clear indicative that they are not aiming for a top 4 spot.
They are contenders right now.
They are aiming for a top 1, 2, 3 spot.
But it's going to be hard for the one spot. I mean, they lost to AFK already. Potentially, though, they could bring that one back and even it up. But let's take a look back through that game, because it was a very long game,
yes.
Low kill count, tactical at the start of the game. Everybody pretty much farmed, and that's why we saw full builds by less than 40 minutes.
Yeah, we saw Anister try and put some pressure on the solo lane. Wasn't successful. Instead, started off on the duo. And that was Cloud9's game plan. You could see all game, not only in lane, but also late game, was shut down Vicium. But they were using so much to do that, that Wiggles DeBay was able to get to the back lines and find the targets he needed. Even if he didn't find the kills himself, so what he did, his Fear No Evil, split the team, forced Barracuda out of the fight, which is the primary source of their damage, and then he was able to lock down Athena, who typically died at the beginning of these fights.
And that's going to make them 7-2 right now. Going to make Cloud9 2-3. Salt Machine was credited with player of the game there, and he didn't get canked too often.
No, and Salt Machine did a great job of locking down the targets he needed as well. I said his build, Hide and Shield of the Underworld, he's going on Barracuda every single game.
Just forcing him away and away. So good work from him in that solo lane. One of the pressures we saw, like we kept saying, Cloud9, we've been focusing the solo lane for a while. This game, Salt played it very, very safe there.
Very safe, and he did a good job with all the high pressure that Anister typically puts onto the solo lane, at least from looking at last week. He did a great job of recognizing when Anister was in his lane, even when he didn't have Void Vision.
Just sticking with the team, hitting on the front line, obviously with the heavy hammer too, just slowing down multiple targets with all his chains there to try and keep them all busy. Good work from Salt Machine. But game 2, Cloud9 got off to a very good start that game. Do they just go back into this and do the same and capitalize a little bit more, do you think? Or
I almost feel like Cloud9 was scared to lose the game. I don't know how to describe it exactly because I don't know their true mindset. I'm not in their comms, but you could see 2 or 3 Fire Giants in a row. They just let enemy have it. And while it may not have been the best to fight into it, they did have the Janus ult to try and reinitiate. Instead, they just allow enemy to not only come back into the game, but then get the lead over them. You could even see at the end there, Cloud9 not even finishing their builds off.
Well, enemy here, they're going to be first pick this time. Cloud9 are second. And so we'll see them on different side of the map. Serqet banned out. They do not want to see Andy on that again.